It's What the Flick, the finale of Better Call Saul. We have noir Brett Erlich on the end.
Thank you.
Robert Abeles, Alonso, Duralde, Ben Mankiewicz. So Marco, this episode, every episode you just told us ended in O?
They tried to make every episode end in O at the titles, but
Alpine Shepherd Boy was the one holdout.
Yeah.
Oh, there was one?
Yes.
There was one, yeah. They tried though. They said.
Anyway, so obviously, look, we're here because we loved the show. The show was great. We loved this season. I did not think this episode was up to the standards.
I'm with you.
Well, okay, but let's just say like, do I don't know that I want the final episode of a season to just be some sort of like wow experience. I mean, I think what's happened a lot lately is that you get the penultimate episode.
Yeah,
It's like
the next to
Breaking
last.
Bad. It's a lot. Penultimate episode is the wow one, and then the last one kind of like is like the soft ending that suggests next season.
Totally. I have no beef with that. I don't want a wow episode. I don't even need a wow episode in the penultimate episode. This is it's an anthology. I like each episode. That said, I just didn't like that return to Chicago as much, again, on the scale of Better Call Saul. I get it. This wasn't a CSI episode. I still liked it because I liked the character.
Why don't we take a look at the clip?
Oh, good point.
I'm sorry I yelled at you. That was nice.
You sure you're all right? It's not a crime to let it out.
There's nothing to let out. Chuck's a sick man.
That's no excuse.
He's my brother. He thinks I'm a scumbag. There's nothing I can do to change that. What else is there to say?
Wow, that's mature.
Dalai Lama's got nothing on me.
Wow, they lit Bob Odenkirk just the way we're lighting you, Brett. They totally stole
So
that.
we're doing homage.
Yeah.
Well, darkness has shrouded this series. I mean, almost the interiors have been like.
So that clip is not going to help my point because that was great stuff. It was Chicago that I thought.
Oh, see, I like getting
yeah,
him in
that
full
felt-
Cicero.
I thought,
Cicero,
yeah.
excuse me, thank.
I liked seeing like full on Slippin' Jimmy. I think that we needed that to get us to the ending that was basically I was telling Brett, like I can't remember what comic book this is in, but it's that sort of classic supervillain, origin story where they try to suppress their baser urge and then finally it's like, no, I am Slippin' Jimmy, and he just embraces it.
It's called Marco for a reason. I think it's really about. I mean,
Because we're waiting for somebody to say polo.
yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This fish is out of water.
I think I did at one point watching the episode go polo is Marco, but Marco is the guy who Jimmy pulls back into badness, and then when he dies, it's this moment like, okay, this has got to end, and I've got to go back and try something.
But then again, it was that he did say that this was the best week of my life.
Sure.
Last line.
Well, because
last word.
bad things are fun.
Right, exactly. And he's like, oh my God, do I want to live my life like I'm telling myself I need to live it, or am I going to live the way that Marco did his last week and have more than a week to do it?
And the ring becomes like the Superman cape, that he was wrapped in by his parents.
I think because it's Better Call Saul and it's so and they generally send us in a direction that we don't anticipate them going, that it's not as simple as that he just made the decision to be Saul Goodman. That there's still, I think we have other steps. I don't mind the decision. The show felt much more predictably like a regular television show, and this was the first episode that I felt that way. The scene with the Kennedy $50 and the guy listening, like, I don't know. It's just I was like,
But they tell you they're about to run a scam, so of course the next scene is them running a scam.
I have no beef with the scam. There was I know how this goes quality to it. It wasn't.
Well, it's like watching a Fred Astaire dance routine. I mean, like, you know it's going to end at some point, and it's going to end with a flourish, but it's like watching a dance routine. It's like we get to see Jimmy now in full Slippin' Jimmy mode from beginning to end with a con, and I think that was kind of a great little
virtuoso
turn.
We already saw it, though. We saw it play out, and then we got a montage. I think those...
The Lost Weekend montage, which I thought was...
I liked, I did like...
I wanted neon signs of bars to be going by.
I did that, with a clip we ran, of course, said, there's nothing to let out. My brother thinks I'm a douchebag.
That
and then, of course,
amazing meltdown.
Then the meltdown, that was great. Basically, I just loved everything.
So I didn't like the meltdown. I thought the bingo scene was annoying. I really didn't like it. It just didn't ring true to me, the idea that he would have this meltdown. I get the idea of a bingo meltdown being kind of engaging, but like it felt more like I need to communicate as a writer why Jimmy left Cicero specifically, and this would be an interesting way to do it. But
left Cicero or left Albuquerque?
Left Cicero to go to Albuquerque because he's talking about the Chicago.
Right.
I just felt like it was too forced into this like what they thought would be a really awesome way to communicate it, but just turned into like a 6-minute monologue.
I like the idea of the meltdown, and I like the idea of the bingo meltdown, and I like that we got and there was that wonderful moment of where you think the story's over. And then we get to
the kids.
The windows were tinted. I didn't know the kids were in the back seat. Like that was a really lovely layer. But I sort of felt the same thing. Like I was just not nearly. This will be the last criticism because I love the show, and I just mean this ended as a B+ after a string of A's. I'm not. I liked it. And the show's still an A. I was moving in my seat way more than usual. Like, I don't like these. These felt like written scenes. Like you said, you don't want a wow moment. This felt like they were writing to we got to get to
an Emmy clip.
We got to get to a point.
I think this is aftermath episode. I mean, and you have to have aftermath. You have to show like what people do in between. Jimmy had his moment where he got to be the moral, strong person against his brother. But now he gets to kind of like vent. I mean, and you have to give him venting, and I think it was a naturally funny way to have him vent without it being to somebody. I mean, he's already vented to Kim. I mean, I just that was a funny way to do it. I mean, it's the opening scene for a reason. I think they understand that you couldn't end the episode with a scene like that. You can open an episode with a scene like that, and then go to
How did it end? What was the end?
With him and Mike, with him being like, "I'm never going to do that again." And I like the fact that
what was the last shot?
The last shot was
driving up,
him driving around, humming Back in Black. I think.
No. Smoke on the water.
Smoke on the water, and then the last shot was of a double yellow line,
which is a great final.
On one side.
You're not supposed to cross the double yellow line.
And I agree with you. I think the bingo thing was a good setup. It was something that needed to happen dramatically, and they did it early enough so that we could then move past it. I like that they dangled the prospect of him getting back on the case and like having another shot at sort of legit lawyerdom, and him being like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go follow like the thing that I know that I'm good at, and the thing that puts a thrill in my life, and be a lawyer at the same time. And so I like how all those pieces kind of came together to give us that closing, and presumably wherever season 2 is going to take us.
Maybe the best moment of the episode was, "You're not Kevin Costner." He takes everything plus looking at him and being like, "It looks kind of like Kevin Costner." I never thought that about Odenkirk before.
That's a reference to an old Breaking Bad episode where he tells Walter in a car at one point, "I told a girl once something was Kevin Costner, and it worked because I believed it." He actually, that is totally a Breaking Bad.
That's a
callback.
callback.
Improved my day measurably.
That's a Breaking Bad callback.
That was great. Oh, that makes.
remember thinking,
it was already a great scene. It just got a little bit
because I was
better.
watching it going, why does that girl saying that he's not Kevin Costner, why does that ring a bell? He's like, oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's
He
great.
told that joke.
Great. And so does that also gives me something extra, because I'm thinking about the writers having taken like all the great details that they put in about Saul Goodman.
Yeah.
And they have a list of them. They're not going to use all of them. But if one comes in handy on his binge week with his buddy Marco, we are definitely going to use it.
I was reading an interview on Hitflix with the co-creator Peter Gould, and what's amazing to me is you think everything's so clearly mapped out, and but like they goes in directions they don't always totally expect, and they clearly don't have a complete grasp of where they're headed for season 2, which, by the way, is going to be I just read 13 episodes and
Yeah.
not 10, which is
Yeah.
wonderful.
I think it's good. That means as creators, they trust their ability to be in the moment as they're hashing out episodes, and not like thinking like, well, we have to decide this whole season at the beginning and then stick to it whether it's good or not. I mean, like all good TV, they respond to what works and what doesn't, and they go with invention.
I remember I talked to a Mad Men writer once, and I was like, "What are you up to?" She's like, "Well, we have to break season 7." And it was like, "Wait. You have to figure it out. Like it's not already set in. Like
It
how
wasn't
is that
already
possible?"
done in 2007.
Like, what is wrong with you people? Don't tell me that.
Right, don't tell me that you guys are growing. Yeah, that's. There was just. I hope that if they don't know where it's going, that we'll get more Kim Wexler. I like
Yes.
Kim.
Sure.
What is their story? Were they ever involved? Do we think?
There's an implication of that, some of those intimate moments in the salon after hours seem to imply that they had
Suggestion that,
I
that,
think
that
they
there
hinted
had
that they
been
had something.
that there
Yeah.
had been whether the
she,
booty
she-
call
she
suggestion.
was probably like, rookie lawyer at the firm,
Right.
and he was mailroom guy, and there was probably a little something happening.
and she saw goodness in him where others didn't.
Also, what we
She
get
thought
is
he was a good man. Right.
what's implied here from the story about the Chicago sunroof is that there was an issue with a previous marriage that
totally,
Jimmy
right.
had. Now, that timeline of him moving to Albuquerque and working in the mailroom, it butts right up against a failed marriage. So any interpersonal relationships he could have with a female colleague might have gone terribly, terribly wrong because he's just getting out of like an
that she'd be the
infidelity
rebound
divorce.
person, yeah.
In other words, more flashbacks ahead. For
Who will
like
they
something
cast
like,
as the ex-wife?
ex-wife,
See,
right.
and I think that's great. I love that.
I vote Sarah Silverman.
But it also means that he has been, betrayed by family twice.
Right.
Yeah. But he goes back. I mean, I like the fact that at the end he goes, "He's my brother. He's not gonna like do everything he does from every day now, but he's
But
not
he's making
gonna,
sure that it's getting done.
making sure.
He's making sure it's gonna, and I like that touch.
Who was that guy? Who was the name of the kid? There?
Ernesto?
Ernesto or Ernie. Right. Saul called him Ernie.
Yeah.
That's
Chuck.
that's a great little device
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Ernesto versus Ernie.
Right.
Right.
Chuck's right. Red Deliciouses are just there's no flavor.
Now,
to it.
I don't know if this is the guy who plays Hamill, the Mr. Blue Suit, or Hamlin. Hamlindigo. He seems like the kind of person who would play an expert on a TV commercial, and I'm thinking maybe he has. And that's why, there's something about his manner, the way that he talks, and the way he articulates words, and he has that sort of blandly, kind of Aryan face that he just seems like the kind of person who would come out and tell you about toothbrushes or something.
Right. He can't help but come off like a cheese dick.
Even when we learn, what's great about it, even when we learn that he's really not the bad guy.
He's not the guy. He just kept doing whatever Chuck wants because they want to keep Chuck. And so I kind of thought that was an interesting touch too. That Hamlin wasn't basically as bad. He just had to do whatever Chuck wanted.
As Kim said, Hamlin was prepared to help him get this gig at the Santa Fe firm.
The beginning of that, I love when the beginning of a scene makes you go, "Oh my God, I have no idea how this is going to play out." The beginning of that scene after, Slip and Jimmy finds out that Hamlin wasn't the total bad guy.
Yeah.
I just thought to myself, I have no idea how these two people are going to interact now with this new information. And I really liked the way it played out.
I think we should mention Mel Rodriguez's name. I just looked up. He was Marco. And that's
He's on Last Man on Earth, and he's fantastic on that show.
Yeah. He's good. He was good. It was a good death scene. I mean, you again saw it coming from that moment when they were sitting opposite each other in the bar.
Hard to die happy.
Hard to die happy.
That's a hard thing to pull off.
And the conversation about whatever it is.
Alley.
The stead pipe, the
dry pipe, or the
standpipe.
Standpipe.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure I could explain it
to a layman.
It was good. It was good.
And the genuine look of hurt on his face when he realizes that Jimmy had come back for the mother's funeral and didn't call him.
Right, but then he got over it.
Yes.
Which is nice.
Yes.
He's just Marco's the kind of guy you want. You want friends like Marco, except for the crime part.
That was a Lost Weekend episode. I think it's really good.
All right. Well, look, doesn't change none of this changed my belief about the show, and anyway, great stuff. We'll be back for season 2. 13 weeks of Better Call Saul. Thanks for watching, everybody.